Welcome to the One Hood Power Hour. We are here at a historic event. This is a very special Power Hour. We are in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at the Whitaker Center for the PA Black Mayors Alliance. And over the next hour, you're going to meet a number of Black mayors from across the state of Pennsylvania for some very, very, very important insight about their towns from Eastern Pennsylvania, Central Pennsylvania, and Western Pennsylvania. It's just going to be just such a powerful episode of the Power Hour. Just so special. We want to thank Pac Bob for inviting us here and allowing us to cover this event, as well as meet some of the mayors that we have met for the first time and hear about the wonderful work they're doing in their local municipalities.
Yes, and a lot of times when people think about Pennsylvania, they may not think about the richness and the diversity of Pennsylvania. And this is a landmark situation where we have 22 Black mayors representing thousands of people throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. These historic elections are not only bringing about changes in policy, changes in neighborhood, but they're also bringing people together at a time that's super crucial for change and development throughout the region. And so how are people coming together? Is there East versus West, a debate? Is there a rivalry? Or are people like coming together, sharing their experiences? We're going to sit down with mayors to learn about what motivated them to run for office, what their experiences are, and what their hopes are for their city. So make sure you stay tuned to tonight's Power Hour.
And we are here with David Dix, the co-chair of the Pennsylvania Black Business Alliance. Thank you so much for joining us.
Great to be here.
A little bit about what happened today and what was, you're the brainchild of all this. What motivated you to pull this together and what happened today?
So last year in 2021, we founded the Pennsylvania Chamber for Black-Owned Business. It was out of both my wife and I's experience through COVID, through the pandemic as business owners, and recognizing there weren't really that many resources out there. And we were all as business leaders kind of siloed from each other to kind of get through that process. So in 2021, we started the Pennsylvania Chamber for Black-Owned Business, affectionately termed PAC-BOB. Since then, we've been working to find to create tables, industry tables. We've convened developers, we've convened lawyers, we've convened a lot of industries. But with the historic election in 2021 of so many Black mayors across the Commonwealth, be that Harrisburg, be that Gettysburg, be that Meadville, Pennsylvania, there was just an incredible number of Black mayors across the Commonwealth who were asking to then be convened, asking to get to know one another. And they all felt like PAC-BOB was the right kind of umbrella to shelter under. And they had a number of virtual conversations given the pandemic's restraints. But this is the first time that they've been able to kind of get in the room together, see each other, press the flesh, press ideas together. And this was a culmination of, yes, the hard work of the leadership of PAC-BOB, but also those mayors kind of recognizing the need to coalesce and convene, and them all coming here with an open mind and an open heart, wanting to come away with something tangible. And they felt like they did that today.
Now, some people across the state may not understand how many African Americans there are. How many African Americans are there statewide, and how many came today to this convening?
So there are 22 Black mayors across the Commonwealth. Today we were represented by about 18. There were a couple of folks that weren't able to make it for one reason or another. The other important point that we've been lifting up is that of those 22 Black mayors, I believe 10 of them are the largest city in their county. So that's like 25% of counties in this Commonwealth The largest municipality in that county is led by an African American. So what does it look like to lean into places like Williamsport, Pennsylvania, with Mayor Derek Slaughter, where they're the largest city in Lycoming County, right? There's work to be done there. Similarly with Mayor Rita Freeling, who I saw you speaking with earlier, Gettysburg, historic Gettysburg, Black woman mayor for the first time in history. What does it look like for her to kind of be representative of Adams County and their needs, given that she represents the largest cohort of citizens in that area?
Absolutely. So what's next? For the Alliance and also for PAC Bob.
Yeah.
What else are you going to continue to do? Is this kind of intersection between economic development, business, government, and the political sphere?
We're going to keep plowing forward. We're going to recognize that there is strength in unity. And today, I think we got a commitment from mayors, at least across the Commonwealth, to be unified. There are going to be other cohorts of tables and leaders across the state who in aggregate represent a large portion of leadership in any given sector, but who are oftentimes siloed and disconnected. So PACBOB will continue to be, again, that umbrella organization where folks can find shelter, convene, and then find at least a light through the path forward.
Okay, and when it's all said and done, like when I said in a few words, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the group. 15, 20, 30, 40 years from now, I'm sure you want this to continue to be a thing. What do you want the legacy, of the PA Black Mayors Alliance to be moving forward from today?
Well, again, there are Black mayors, because a lot of times you forget that they're there or not recognize that they're there. Those Black mayors know each other now, and as thanks for today. And now that those Black mayors know each other, they're going to be collaborating in a way to represent the interests of African Americans, whether they're in their cities or not, but also to be strong leaders. A lot of this today was not just about what's the path forward for African Americans. These were African Americans who got serious professional development, who got an opportunity to exchange ideas with Senator Casey, opportunity to exchange ideas with representatives of the Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development. And that's invaluable for them to be able to take back and serve their constituents, white and black, right? So I think what the next steps are is just keep convening, keep finding ways to break down silos, to connect people, and to find a unity of purpose.
Thank you so much. Here with David Dix, the co-chair of PAC Bob, who convened this historic meeting today of 18 Black mayors from across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more wonderful events like this coming soon to not only Harrisburg, but areas all over the state. So thank you so much for your leadership. Appreciate you joining us today and allowing us to be here and be exclusively covering this as the media. So if you're also out there in the media, don't get mad, you know what I mean? Or get mad at David, you know what I'm saying? That's my homie, you know what I'm saying? He was the plug. He gave us, you know what I mean, exclusive, access to these various mayors. And it definitely, was very transformative, not only for the mayors themselves, but I think for the staff, folks that were staffing the mayors, as well as for me and Miracle Jones. So again, thank you so much for your leadership.
Thanks.
Best of luck to everything. And hopefully we will continue to be able to cover these kinds of events. And I'm sure this is the first of many. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right. We are here again, landmark historic convening. Mayor, how are you doing today?
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. Can you just take the time to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Absolutely. So my name is Sierra Dent. I am the mayor of Stilton, which is a small borough right outside of the city of Harrisburg.
And what inspired you to run for mayor?
Wanted to help the people. I think that if you don't have the heart to serve, it makes it very hard to be a public official or someone that sits in an elected seat. Knowing that I had the heart to help people, to want to see them do well, to have been in those positions where I didn't have the help nor the education to know what to do or where to get the resources, it made me want to be that person. And for the voiceless and those who can't really speak up, I wanted to be their voice.
And what does today mean to you? This is a historic gathering of over 18 Black mayors in Pennsylvania. First time this has ever happened in history.
Absolutely.
So what does this mean to you?
Oh, it means so much. It's inspiring. It gives us the connectivity that we need. It reminds us of that no matter what, we have to have each other's back, that we're going through the same struggles. You're not the only one that's fighting these similar wars or similar battles in your communities, that there's other people that look literally just like you who are having these same fights, that's going through the same things, who are trying to figure out ways to get support and don't know how. So today is very historical because number one, we are standing together, our brothers and sisters of the Black community, and we're showing other people that it can be done. We're showing other people that we did it, and we're making a blueprint for others to follow the lead.
And then what is your hope for Stilton?
For still, and my hope is that we will not only survive, but that we'll thrive through all the transitions that we're going through and the changing of the guards and the things that are going on and building different, places, communities, things of that nature. That once my term is done, I want Stilton to be in a place where they can say that we're thriving and we're in a place of sustainability and we're not fighting to survive. We're not fighting to have the resources that we need, but we have the education we need to be able to sustain our families.
And you mentioned the changing of the guard. How does it feel to be, you're one of the youngest Black women leading a city? Like, how does that make you feel?
It's humbling. It's humbling. It's sobering, because sometimes it can feel like the weight of your community is on your shoulders. But when you know that you did it with a pure intent, you know that you did it with nothing but wanted to do good for the people, it makes it all worth it. The sacrifice is worth it.
And then you said, you're here for the next term, you want Stilton to be changed. What would you like your legacy to be as mayor?
Good impact, just impact, touching the people, being visible to the people, being able to have empathy for them, being able to relate to them, and also giving them the example that they needed to know that they can do exactly the same thing I did.
Well, Mayor, I thank you so much for taking the time. I love the curls. I'm I'm very jealous of this 4C popping.
Right.
I love it. And thank you so much for sitting down.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, honey. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one, honey.
We are here at the historic Pennsylvania Black Mayors Alliance meeting in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I'm so excited to be joined by Dwan Walker, the mayor of the historic city of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, and Beaver County. As I mentioned to a few folks, I know that neck of the woods pretty well. My father's from Newcastle.
Oh, yeah, Red Hurricane.
Yeah. I spent my entire life hearing stories, about Ambridge and Aliquippa, and Beaver Falls, and Newcastle, and Sharon and Farrell. So I'm very familiar with the area. Can you talk a little bit about, your experiences today and what's your reflections on this historic convening?
Oh, man, like I said, what Mayor Williams and Ed Gainey did today transcends time now. We have a seat at the table, and that influence. And again, it's not power of just power; it's power of influence over people and what we do in our communities. We know our communities better than anyone, and Ed and Ms. Williams has fostered that, so we can bring our local solutions that require local problems to local solutions right here to Harrisburg, and they can know that we're a force to be reckoned with, that we have a voice, and that we want to know. We want you to teach us. We want to do the right things. We don't, we want to do this thing right. This is our legacy. Most of us who ran for this position didn't get it for the money. It's chest bumps and high fives we feed off of.
Mm-hmm.
So to get into this position and have to, fix where we rest our head at, that's the key. And this gives us an opportunity and the tools to fix where we rest our head at, and also have communication with people who are doing the job like we are.
Absolutely. Can you talk about what are some of your top priorities right now as mayor of Aliquippa?
Top priority, redevelopment. Keeping my community safe. Also, policing is an issue. What we talked about in this conference. I have a police shortage right now, and I'm thankful for the police, state police and the Beaver County Sheriff's Department for helping out Aliquippa. But that's again, redevelopment, police security, saving our community, uplifting the community, making sure they understand that look, this is 15001. This is Aliquippa, true and proper. That we have to fix where I rest our head at, and that's been a policy since I've been in office. I'm the dean of this thing. I'm 11 years in the game, and definitely want to fix where I rest my head at. Definitely want to make sure we're all on the same page. That's the toughest part. You can't control people, and that's what we're trying to do. Hey, if you love it like I love it, doesn't matter what we may not agree or disagree, but let's move forward.
Absolutely, and it's hard to believe it's been 11 years already. It almost still feels like it was your first term. Time moves so fast. What are you proudest of so far in your tenure as mayor of Aliquippa?
Like I said, I'm just proud of the redevelopment. I mean, we're tearing down buildings, reconstruction Aliquippa. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll hear about us having the first build of market rate housing in Aliquippa. Never been thought of. The redevelopment of Aliquippa continues. Our nonprofit organization is still continuing to do the work in Aliquippa to do the heavy lifting of tearing down buildings, paving roads, fixing sidewalks. Man, I just think I'm just positive in where the future is. This is a renaissance, and never been a resurrection project. Aliquippa's never been dead. So anybody that thinks that is foolhardy. This is a renaissance, and the renaissance takes everybody, all of us, all hands on deck to get this thing rolling.
Absolutely. And when your tenure as mayor is over, what do you want your legacy to be for the city of Aliquippa?
That he loved Aliquippa with his whole heart, that he was a connector, that he didn't assume he knew it all, but he gave his all. That this city, as long as he was under his watch, had a seat at the table. Matter of fact, we were the table. And if anybody knows that, then if they're going to take a eat of our table, they're going to do it in the right way. Transparency and accountability. We got 10 years of positive fund balance. The last 3 years, our pension fund has been 100% funded. That means we had no contributions to it. We've been in the black. We won a governor's award because of our financial obligations. We've met our obligations. Our city is fine. Our city is fine. It's going to get better. It's a renaissance. And it takes us to do it. But that's my legacy. That's what I wanted to be. You don't got to give me no plaques, none of that stuff. You don't got to give me that. Just say that man loved the city with his whole heart. That's all you got to say.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate you, man.
Mayor Dwan Walker, the mayor of the historic city of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, in Beaver County. Thank you so much for joining us
I appreciate you,
here at the PA Black Mayors Alliance. And stay tuned. We're going to have more mayors coming up soon. Thanks so much for your time.
I appreciate your family. God bless you.
Yeah, always good to see you, bro. We are here with the mayor of Gettysburg. Welcome.
Thank you.
Can you please introduce yourself and tell the viewers all about Gettysburg and how long you've been in office?
Hi, my name is Rita Freeling. I'm mayor of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, known as the greatest well-known small town in America, and I would like to say the world. I've been mayor since January. People asked me why I wanted to run for mayor, and I said this is something I wanted to do since I was a little girl, be mayor of Gettysburg. So children, young people, kids, however you want to be, hold fast to your dreams and just keep going and try to achieve them, and you will.
Thanks so much. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things that are happening in Gettysburg and what's your agenda as mayor of Gettysburg?
Okay, my agenda is very simple. Community safety, that's public safety, being what's going on with COVID. And it's also police safety. We're like community police force. We need the police in our community. And also collaboration and consensus, because there are different people that need to all come together to benefit the borough.
Thank you. How many people live in Gettysburg?
About approximately 7,600.
And are you the first African-American mayor of Gettysburg?
Yes, I am, and I'm also the first woman.
Wow. So what inspired you to run for mayor?
As I said, it was something I always wanted to do since I was a child. And my aunt, who passed away from Alzheimer's about 2 years ago, she always told me you should be mayor of Gettysburg. So I was taking care of her. She left me her home, which is in the borough, and I saw the opportunity was there, and I thought, I'm going to try this.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy. I know you're heading back. I know we're not that far from Gettysburg, but I know it's still a little bit of drive from Harrisburg.
You're from?
Pittsburgh.
I have family. My family was from Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. What part?
Somewhere on the hill.
Okay,
right?
okay.
My aunt only lived there, and I also have relatives in Swickley and Coriopolis.
Wow, okay.
That's where we have our family reunion.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Well, thanks so much.
My mother's son.
I'm going to let you go on your way, but thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, this is very important. My aunt would smack me. My aunt loved the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Here with the mayor of Gettysburg, the first term mayor of Gettysburg, history-making mayor of Gettysburg. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed today's convening and looking forward to staying in touch.
Okay, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
And so we are back at this historic day with the amazing mayor. Braddock, how are you doing today?
Fine, I'm doing well.
And so can you just introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hello, everyone. My name is Delia Lennon Winstead, and I am the newly elected mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania.
And so, what inspired you to run?
Well, truly, I really can't say because I've always been in the voting part of the politics as a young teenager with my mother. So I guess it all started with my mother, and it was always in my DNA. And after John Fetterman went and won the lieutenant governor race, um, someone said, "Hey, Miss Dee Dee, won't you run for mayor?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to be mayor." And they said, "Why not? You know everything about bridal. You're a longtime resident." And so I talked it over with my family. And so I ran. I didn't win on my first try. The former mayor, Braddock Shorty Jones, she stepped down and she gave me a call and she handed the torch over to me. So I ran unopposed, and here I am 9 months in the seat. My platform is really the gun violence because it's a personal thing to me. Um, I wear this purple band on my wrist because I have a daughter that was shot violently over a year and a half ago. And to this day, thank God that she's alive, but she has a bullet on her spine, which renders her paralyzed from the waist down. But in the shooting, it took over 2/3 of her stomach. Her pancreas is gone, her small intestines is gone, her large intestines is gone, and her liver is damaged. But through the grace and the love of God, my daughter is alive. We struggle. She struggled. Her family is overwhelmed with why, how come someone would do this violent act against my second born child. But through it all, God has saved her life, and He has given us the strength to move on day by day.
So, you're talking about the strength and your hope for impacting and stopping other people from experiencing what you're unfortunately having to live through. So, what are some of the things you have hope for Braddock?
Okay, I hope for Bridal that they would have hope, and they would come to the realization to put the guns down. The shootings did stop, but it seems to be picking back up. And it's senseless, and it's not meaningful, and it's devastating to the lives of the people that we lose, the family lost, and all. See, I'm a longtime resident of Brown. 67 years I've been there. And I stand here today as a new person because of Brown, because I was the problem and now I'm the solution. I stand here for Bridal, for the empowerment of all, that you can change, that you can be the change, make the change, be the difference. You don't have to stay in, you don't have to stay in that. You don't have to stay in it. You know, you can come out of it because you are ordained to be awesome. You was awesome, wonderfully made in the image of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That is just so powerful in the whole that you have already dwelling in you. Break the chain off, make the difference. And I stepped up and made the difference in my life. I was on drugs and all my darkness was a long time ago, over 25 years. I was bonded, chained down to the lifestyle that was killing me.
And change.
And then the change came. And now the change is coming for bridal.
Yeah, and you talk about that. So what does today mean to you?
Today, this what we did, this Black Alliance, this getting together, all these Black mayors in Pennsylvania getting together, it was just an awesome, amazing thing. I learned so much. It drawn us together. Personally, professionally, our ideas and stuff we can sit around. Now we're at the table. We're all individuals, but our vision for our towns are just basically the same. And now we're at the table. We're at the table. We're finally getting invited to the table, finally making the change for ourselves individually, mentally, physically, and spiritually, right along with our communities, politically, strategically, all of that to empowerment our residents to make the change because that's where it begins. Everything it begins at life, and life really right now starts at home, and it begins inside your community and stuff, inside your residents' minds. We gotta break those chains and strongholds off of the people's thinking and their mindset, because that's what they're grabbing onto. Because they think that it's okay to shoot and kill and take people's lives innocently for no reason because of the mindset of the upbringing never got addressed and they're hurting and they're in pain. And when they're hurting and in pain, all they do is react. And then they think later, but later is too late. So as I stand and had overcome all the darkness and the struggle as an individual and a resident of my town that I never left, my town know all about me and I know all about my town.
And they ride for you.
And they voted me in. I ran unopposed and now I am their mayor. I want to bring everybody to the table. I want to bring all the small community groups, our Betco, our partnership that cares, our borough, our churches. I want to bring them all to the table. Everybody got the finished vision and stuff, but everybody's doing this and stuff. Come together, all come to the table and reveal the purpose that they have and then eventually we all reveal the purpose that God has for our life. We will all move forward under His authority on His path that He's chosen. We are all ordained and already chosen by the God Almighty for this position, for such a time as this right now, to glorify Him in everything, including our times and stuff, for the betterment of our people, with your God's people.
Well, Mayor, I appreciate you sitting down. Said it was going to be painless, effortless. Thank you so much for being very vulnerable and open with us.
Thank you.
We wish you all the best in Friday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm excited and thrilled to be here with the mayor of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania, Kenya Johns. Welcome, Mayor. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me. And thank you guys for hosting this opportunity for all of us to be able to engage and talk and discuss about some of the issues and struggles that we honestly have.
Absolutely. I'm very familiar with Beaver Falls.
Okay.
My father's from Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
I grew up in Pittsburgh.
I won't hold that against you.
I spent a good amount of time in that part of Pennsylvania. You can talk a little bit about what Beaver Falls is like for those in other parts of the state that maybe not so familiar.
So that's such a great question to ask, because Beaver Falls is really like this beautiful oasis of people. right? You look at all different communities like, oh, well, this is our basic demographic, or, we have this population or that population. But Beaver Falls is really this beautiful place that blends together all people, no matter your socioeconomic status, your race. Obviously, we have our own challenges and problems. I'm not going to deny that. But overall, if you look at our citizens, you see everybody represented. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about Beaver Falls.
Absolutely. So what made you want to throw your hat in the ring? I know that's a tough decision to make.
Yeah.
What made you throw your hat in the ring to run for mayor of Beaver Falls?
Really being connected and wanting to make a change for people. I talk about my mom when she passed just 2 years ago, before I decided to run, talking to her about change. My mom really instilled in us the value of community and working together. So not seeing that in my city really disheartened me, to be quite honest. Not seeing the people that were supposed to represent us actually represent us and create opportunities like this for us to make change and sustainable change in our community. Because the reality of it is, and you know this, you're not new to politics. If you really want to make change, you have to invest. And not just money, but your time and your investment in the people so that they can generate the change. Because we don't make the change, they make the change.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what are your top priorities as mayor of Beaver Falls right now?
So it's been a blessing. The things that I ran on, and me and my two councilwomen that ran, was community engagement. And I can say that we successfully held about 4 or 5 events this year. And we've never done that in the history of the city. So that's been great to have people invest and be able to take part in that. Also, policing, that's a big issue in the state and across the country. We've been blessed to be able to transform our police department and not have the shortages, as I'm sure you heard our peers have. And one of the most beautiful things is we are able to hire our first ever female officer in history of our city, which is great because I'm the first African-American female mayor. So just to see how much when people look like you and you are in these seats and why diversity matters, it's awesome. I appreciate our chief being willing and open to diversity and that being a forefront for him as well.
And what is your message to potentially state leaders and other folks, particularly in federal offices that represent the state of Pennsylvania? Because I feel like so often the conversation we talk about urban communities or African American communities is so much centered around Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philadelphia, and people forget that there's places like Beaver Falls that have sizable African American communities. What is your message to those leaders when you think about African American communities? Don't forget about the Newcastles and the Beaver Falls and the Aliquippas.
I think that's the message right there. Don't forget about us. And when you look at Beaver County overall, we're watched around the country when it comes to elections. And I think people forget that. Beaver County might be small when people look at it because of the diverse populations, but we are mighty and we pack so much with us. Stop forgetting about us. Invest in us. See the beauty that we have, because there's not many places you can go around the world and not know someone from Western Pennsylvania. And that's us. So don't forget about us.
Absolutely. And when your term eventually ends as mayor, what do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy, I hope it's about community building and hope and transparency. I want people to feel like when I sat in the seat that they always knew what they were getting. They always felt like someone that was in that seat, whether they agree with me or not, was making the best decisions for them with the information that they had. I hope that they felt empowered to take on that leadership and fulfill a better Beaver Falls, not just for me or the next mayor or the next generation, but for the legacy of our city and our town.
Well, thank you so much. That was Mayor Kenya Johns, the mayor of Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. Very proud historic city in Western Pennsylvania. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You had a wonderful time here at the PA Black Mayors Alliance.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're here at the Pennsylvania Black Mayors Alliance. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful.
And Mayor, can you just introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yes, my name is Jamie Kinder, and I am the mayor of Meadville, Pennsylvania.
And how was your experience here today at the Alliance?
It was enlightening, and it was, it made me feel a lot of kinship, and it's hard for me to articulate because I am so excited and so happy to be with people who look like me in power. And changing the face of power here in the state of Pennsylvania.
And so what inspired you to run for a mayor?
The lack of a voice. My mother was in Meadville my whole life. She was a single mother and nobody cared about her situation. Was living in. She didn't even know who the mayor was at any given time or or city council. Also, I owned a business in town, and my city council had a chance to create a COVID task force to ask businesses, to ask people, to ask residents, to ask renters how they were doing and how they could help. And they opted not to do so. They opted to leave it how it was. They opted to not care what we had to say. And for me, it's unacceptable and it wasn't okay. And, it made me and let me know it was time for a change.
And so what is your hope for the city of Meadville?
Oh man, my city is great. We are moving forward. My hope is that the people that come into my city understand that they are valued. We want them there. Their voice, it matters to us, right? It is important that each one of them has the confidence to come to our meetings and tell us what they think. Whether they like what we're doing or not, we want to hear them, and we want them in chambers. We want them to come to my office. I'm the first office you walk into, right? You don't even have to go through the doors and talk to the secretary. I'm the first office. And that's so you can come in and talk straight to me.
Well, I appreciate you. I know your time is valuable, Mayor. Thank you so much. And congratulations on your landmark, groundbreaking, historic election.
Thank you. And thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
So if you have been inspired by today's Power Hour, these mayors are here because they were voted in. You have until October 24th to register to vote. Your vote counts. Your vote matters. If you want to see people in office who are reflective of you, who are reflective of the needs that you want for your community, you have to vote them in. And so please make sure you're registered to vote by October 24th. If you're already registered, please make sure to double check your registration just to make sure nothing has changed with your polling places and your information is up to date. And we will see you at the polls in November. Thank you so much.
I'm here with the mayor of Wilkinsburg, Dante Coleman's first term. Always good to see you, my
Yes,
good
man.
brother.
Thank y'all for having me. This is an amazing day.
Absolutely. So, just talk a little bit about your experiences here today.
Oh, it was amazing. Just to be in a place where a lot of these boroughs, municipalities, and cities are experiencing the same thing. We all have blight. We all have Black people leaving, and we all need housing. We all have police problems and everything. And it's just listening to them. I felt blessed, to have a strong police force like we had. Just there, some people have like 6 and 9 people. We have about 23. We have a Black police chief, and we're doing great things. Just to come together and hear everyone's problem and how can we all help each other was amazing. They had great resources for housing, as well as thoughts on policing to get more people to come in. Especially that's like us, because you can't just go out there and say, "Hey, I want Black people."
Right.
But if you just go out there, start in the middle schools, get to the high schools, and funnel things the right way, you get the right people representing the right areas.
Absolutely. Now, I'm sure this has been in the planning, for some time, but was this event everything you thought it was going to be, or even more? What are your feelings walking out of the door after being here all
It was more because the food was good. Usually you go to a hotel, you're like, "Oh, this food's all right," but no, it was. The panels were great. The food was great. The people was great. I'm big on energy.
Absolutely.
And everyone came here, willing to talk, open arms. It was loving. Everyone passing out cards, passing out ideas. Like, this is what we need in Pennsylvania. We have a lot of Black mayors, and we have a lot of Black council people, school board directors, and all together they can't deny us. Pennsylvania has something to say.
Absolutely. You talk just a little bit to jump from statewide back to local. You talk about a little bit of some of your priorities as a first-term mayor in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania.
Some of my priorities is just to get our housing together. We have a few projects going on. The Hosanna House is building some affordable housing. It's about that's going to have storefronts on there. But the county's trying to come in and build a lot of affordable housing for single parents to help with them to get through college and then buy homes afterwards. So that'll be just linking with people, getting the resources for that. Getting these grants together, getting rid of this blight, man. But most importantly, I really want a community center in Wilkinsburg. We have a lot of agencies that help, but I grew up in Lincoln, and we had Postal Recreation Center, and Garfield, we had the Boys and Girls Club up there, which now is base. And these pillars, help where you can just stop in, you can get a meal, You get some, basketball rec time. You can get some weightlifting, put some financial literacy in there. It'll be a win for everyone.
Absolutely. Now, when your term is over as mayor, and hopefully, it won't be just one term. It'd be however many terms that you would like to stay in that role. What do you want your legacy to be as Mayor Wilkinsburg?
My legacy, I want to be the guy that brought all the wards together. Right now, we do have a war of wards where everyone thinks of themselves like we're Regent Square or we're Black Ridge or we're Beacon Hill, but we're one Wilkinsburg. Some people just think of Wilkinsburg as our Penn Avenue district. Well, we're bigger than that. That's the district that's red line, and we do have a suburb within the suburb. But we just have to bring everyone together and care, and be willing to do what we have to do for these kids. That's what it's about, these babies.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, the mayor of Wilkinsburg, Dante Coleman. Very good brother. No, thank you. Always good to see you, man.
Absolutely. You got a suit on. I bet you got some polo socks on.
I might have some polo socks on.
I always got the look.
Dante knows, I'm the polo man.
Always got the look.
All right. A man who doesn't need an introduction, but I'm still going to ask you to introduce yourself. Can you introduce yourself?
Mayor of Pittsburgh.
And so what has today meant to you?
Yeah, for far too long throughout the state, it's always been disconnected. From the West, we've never had as many African mayors as we got today. And we wanted to connect the East and the West. I thought that was important because we don't know each other in this time that we do know each other. Our issues are the same: gun violence, education, housing, workforce development, police community relations. And ideas are universal. Sometimes they have better ideas than us, but us coming together and being able to talk about it, I think it's positive.
And so you really cared about this, and sometimes there's always barriers to access. And so you said there will be no barriers to this. Can you just talk about what you did for the people?
Yeah, I think removing barriers and creating access and opportunity is how we grow. And a lot of times everybody wants to get to a level of success. America, I told you before, I never believe in success. I believe in growth. Growth doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. Today was just one of those moments where we had an opportunity to open up barriers that didn't open before. And so to meet each other, having an opportunity to talk to the HUD, BHFA, statewide police, there's so much more we could have done. Talking about why, we need to talk to the teachers unions in regards to why schools in underachieving neighborhoods are always at the last of the pile. We need to change that concept, but we can't do it unless we together, because it's not just in Philly or Pittsburgh, it's all over. So the more we begin to talk about it, the more we can change it. And that's what we're here for.
And so what did today mean to you personally? Just look around, because we always talk about how you're the first Black mayor of Pittsburgh, but to look around and be like, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
What did that mean to you?
It meant a lot, one, because I think particularly, let me speak to you about the mayors out West. I think what we all have in common is that we care about people. Whether you talk about Walker, whether you talk anyone you want to talk about, they always talk about the importance of people and doing things through people. I've done that my whole career. And so I know if we can move people, we can move development. We can move development, we can move growth. That's the reality. But nobody moves unless they know that you care. So now connect that to the East, where they've already had empowerment, where they've already had African-American mayors, and say, hey, listen, we're catching up now. We're also here. Let's talk and see how we work together. That's the power of access.
And you said, we're learning from each other. And one of the things you've always talked about is how you want more people to be involved in communities, because you don't personally have all the answers. Right. So what was it like sitting here and listening to people with these various ideas? How did you feel?
It felt good because, like I said, we don't serve ideologies, we serve people. And today you saw that. You didn't see nobody talk about their personal ideology, because everybody, like I said, the issues are the issues. Now, how we get there is an ideology. Everybody believes that their ideology is the best on how to get there. But in reality, there's no best way, or we would have already done it. I think us coming together and talk about what are the correct ways or how we're going to get there. So tonight, the day was big for me, because at the end of the day, I could hear some things I didn't hear before about what we need to do. And I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation.
And you talked about the mayors in the West. You've been very adamant about bringing everybody together, sharing resources, sharing connections. What is your hope for Southwestern PA?
That we continue to grow, and that we can continue to create access that wasn't there before, and that we empower communities because they see something. It's not about me. It's not even about the community for me that's 30 and 20. It's really about the community that's in its teens. that they see an African-American mayor and that they can grow up exposed to something greater than what they see today. I don't want them to see Frankstown. I don't want them to see Frankstown on no homework. I don't want them to see the streets as a way to say how I develop. I want them to look at life and say, what's the best way I can develop life? I wish I would have understood that earlier. To me, the only thing I knew was the neighborhood I came up in. And so therefore, I thought that was my teacher, and that's what I was supposed to be. But that's not my teacher. It's a part of my history that I will embrace, but the reality, life is my teacher. And how I make a better life for me is how I make a better life for others. And so now I get it. How many of our kids need to understand that? If they understood that, they wouldn't want to be gangsters and thugs. They want to be kings and queens. But you got to let them know that the hood don't define you. But what you do with your life, that's what defines you.
And so looking back, looking forward, what do you want your legacy, the legacy from today to be? And when you're done with being mayor, what do you want your legacy as mayor to be?
Today, I wanted to go, I don't want this to be a beginning to an end. I want this to be beginning to eternity, regardless of who sits in these seats, that they keep it going, because that's how you grow. Right? If development takes 20 years, we need a 20-year run to really say, hey, we've arrived and we're here and we're doing things that brings forth a diverse society. Listen, diversity is safety. There's no other greater safety than diversity. And so at the end of the day, what I want my legacy to be as the mayor is that I planted a seed of diversity that made the city of Pittsburgh more safe, more diverse, more welcoming, and more thriving. The more we create diversity, the safer our city will be, because everywhere we go will be reflective of what society is supposed to look like.
All right, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Pleasure.
All
right, one hood in the building. What?
And we are back with the One Hood Power Hour here at the historic PA Black Mayors Alliance meeting. And we just had conversations over the last hour with mayors from all over the state, hearing from a ground level what is happening in all these disparate municipalities, smaller towns, bigger cities, and the work that they're doing all over the state to transform their communities. And it's just been just very inspirational. You just hear the passion, and you hear the hard work and their commitment to their communities. It's very smart, talented folks, and I'm inspired. I'm just so glad. Thank you, Pac Bob, David Dix, Marcia Perry Dix, for inviting us here, allowing us to cover this event. What are some of your reflections from today's events?
It's been a wonderful event. Again, this is a historic landmark event. But what I took away from talking to all these mayors is that they're running to be a servant to the people. They are asking people to show up, to get involved, to hold them accountable. They are very open and vulnerable, but they may not have all of the answers or all of the solutions, but they're willing to engage and to learn. And I think that was super important to hear. Also, that they're very excited and they have visions for the future. They're not there just to occupy a seat because that seat exists, but they're really there to impact people's lives and make a change. And that was very great to hear, great to see. And then watching them be excited, the excitement about learning how to better serve the community, what other opportunities and resources and investments are out there. I think we're about to see a transformational change. I think the mayor of Alcoa called it a renaissance.
Absolutely.
I think we're really about to see a change in Pennsylvania for the better. And I thought it was very telling. They all talked about all of the various communities and their hopes for the future. So they understand that it's not just about them, it's for the betterment of the community. That's what you love to see in an elected official.
Absolutely. And again, we want to thank Pac Bob, the PA Chamber of Black-Owned Businesses, for inviting us here to this historic event and convening this historic event. And we want to thank all the mayors who had time to sit down and talk to us. The ones that we couldn't sit down with today, you will see them on an upcoming Power Hour or the upcoming Sunday night sit down. So from the Whitaker Center in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, signing off with my esteemed colleague, Miracle Jones. This is Kahari Mosley for the One Hood Power Hour. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you to the PA Chamber of Black-Owned Business for hosting us. Thank you to Mayor Wanda Williams and Mayor Ed Gainey for convening this group, and all the mayors from across the state who attended. Thanks so much. Have a good night. See you on the Sunday night sit down.